All right, everybody, away we go. Welcome to today's call. It is Friday, October 11th of 2019. Man, this one is zipping by. Oops, got to get everybody off hold there. Sorry about that for all of you that were on hold. It is the TRC sales training call on October 11th, 2019. Looking forward to today's call. And I just wanted to talk a little bit as I let people roll in here this week about always giving you the update. You know, I do what you do. You can hear my voice is still in rough shape. It's only been a couple of weeks since we spent 2 days in the box, as I say, TRC Live doing our teaching and training. And I've been busy ever since. And one of the things that I want to express to everybody is that during the course of a year, even when you're a veteran like I am, there's a lot that can go wrong and there's a lot that can go sideways, and you can start to not trust your plan and you can stop executing it pretty easily. And one thing that you'll guarantee yourself when you do that is that you'll be punching holes in the boat that you don't need to. Certainly the economy, the natural ebb and flow of money. I think right now one of the best things that's happening to real estate is that as the market cools, the stock market, there's all sorts of folks like Warren Buffett pulling money out of the stock market, going to cash. There's a lot of indicators we're in for a market correction. And there's a flight to what? Things that are more substantially physical, like real estate. So I have been extremely busy in the last several days. I don't know that that necessarily has a direct effect on the fact that real pundits are thinking that maybe we're going to go into a stock market cooling. I do. I think it's overinflated. And so as you see that, people will take their money out of the market, take their profit, and they'll buy that home that they've always wanted. They'll upgrade, or they'll just park their money. When I walk down the streets of Boston at night, I can tell you there's a lot of parked money in a world-class city like this, because I see a lot of lights out that never come on. That means the money's just sitting there holding this real estate asset because it happens to be one of the best asset classes, certainly in times of recession. If it's cash and you're just holding it, it's very tangible. And what goes up comes down and vice versa. So be cognizant of what goes on outside of real estate. It's really important to be in that mode where we don't just get caught up in our own lane and then you're oblivious. One of the things that's really helped me and all the mastermind members with staying on top of it is we produce a monthly newsletter. And especially that quarterly newsletter, which is the way Wall Street reports, people really see what's happening in a market in a nice big chunk. And you can see it. I think a lot of us are surprised when we look at it. I mean, these are people that do this every day. And this is why I always make the case. You can't just do real estate. You have to pick your head up and be strategic about it. That's a really important component of being strategic with what you do. So get a market report monthly, just as you would if you were a stockbroker. Certainly, if you're a stockbroker, you're looking at it more regularly and quicker than that because that market moves much faster. But at least on a bare minimum, take a look at what's happening in your real estate market from a statistical standpoint once a month. And remember, this is the way that public companies report. They have formal reporting on a monthly basis and a quarterly basis. Semi-annual is obviously still one of the quarters, and so is annual. But those are very big moments in time where you have this reporting season when earnings come out. Be cognizant of the stock market. Start to behave like that in this industry because it levels you up. People begin to see you as a professional amongst other professionals, right? We want to just be the little old real estate agent doing our thing. You want to be the professional. If you want to be strategic and hang around me, I'm going to push you to be that person. So get statistics, get some sort of reporting. We'll look at typical easy things like the top 10 sales in our area, the average price per square foot. One of the things that we're very cognizant of putting in our newsletter these days is the interest rate. I mean, think about it. This is a monetarily driven asset right now. Interest rates year over year, I know it from my own report, are off by 25% or so, plus or minus, right? We're up in the fours and now we're down in the threes. Well, that makes a massive difference. If you know that and you can express that to somebody and you give somebody a comparative look at where we were last year with one simple stat like the interest rate, the average price per square foot, the average days on the market. All these things are indicators of how the market's doing. And the number one question that you all get when you talk about real estate is, how's the market? That's what everybody asks us. So if you don't know that, you're in trouble. But when you begin to know it, you become more interested like a financial advisor. And I think that's really important to have that at your fingertips, okay? And again, the reason I say that is because it's not lost on me why all of a sudden in the fourth quarter of this year, I'm busy. And that's because I can see people pulling money and a lot big chunks of cash are coming from wherever it was parked and into real estate. And this is why I make a big case for trying to always level up the average sale if you can, because people that take an intelligent strategic approach to their money are looking for somebody intelligent to give them advice on the other side. And when I say intelligence is learned in this business, and I try to teach it to you. And this is my first quip today. Know thy marketplace. Know what's going on and the direction of the trends. So instead of just quipping because you heard it at the office, oh, it's a buyer's market. Oh, it's a seller's market. Let me tell you something. A smart seller can get top dollar in a crashing market, right? So how is it anything other than each individual case? Sure, globally, you can have a shift downwards. In real estate in general, in your area, nationally, internationally, sure, those things can happen. But there's always there's a good opportunity for sellers and buyers. Let's think about a seller who's in a crashing market, but they're buffed up and they have this unique place. Well, not everybody loses their money in a crash. In fact, the smart have cash, and they, like I just finished saying, they tend to put it into assets like real estate. So a seller, well prepared, can do well. So you want to be that coach and that guy, but you don't want to sound cloudy. The best word is nebulous, right? Nebulous means cloudy. You don't want to sound wishy-washy. Well, I don't know. It's got no. Well, to tell you the truth, the average square foot in Boston price is $1,043. That's the sold price. So we're looking at something here where they're asking $1,200. Now I know it's all buffed up and it's top condition, but I still think it's rich. That's a lot better than saying, "Oh my gosh, this is so nice, but it feels rich." Right? What? When you can get the real basic statistics. So be prepared. All right, let's get to the call here. And I'm going to call out to anybody that wants to take me in a direction. I have a couple of my own rookies on the phone from Griffin Realty Group. I have some other team members that I didn't hear from on the last couple of calls. I'd like to hear from those people too. So you give me today your case study and we'll deal with it. All right? So I'm going to open up the mics. Remember, please, 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 mute Hey GVD and all the gang over there. And by the way, the Wisebarth team, thank you for saying hi on Facebook. I can see y'all over there too. By the way, we do live stream on YouTube too. If you have a preference, if you go over to YouTube and you turn on the channel notifications, I'm live over there and on Facebook. And of course, all of you that are going to participate, you need to call in and you are the insiders. So you get to talk to me directly. All right, let's go. Open up these microphones. Here we go. All right, who's got a case study for me first? Who's up? Somebody hit me with something.
We were hoping to do a Google pay-per-click for buyers or sellers.
Yep.
We talked about that in our call. Is this the time for it?
No, definitely not this one. That's a marketing thing. So yeah, you and I need to talk about that. I mean, unless you have a sales question about it, that's definitely a marketing technical question that I would have to show you.
Okay.
Yeah, you mean you want to build one? Is that what you're saying?
To bring the fire. Didn't want to no, it's a technical.
Hold on. Hey guys, if you're talking in the background, you have to *6 me, okay? Please. All right. Yep, *6 me. Go ahead, Gail.
So I have a couple of new people on. One is a new agent, Jessica, and then one is Derek, and he will be taking his license probably in another month or so.
Super.
So I was hoping maybe one of them would speak up, especially Jessica, because she has some questions.
Awesome. Hi, Jessica.
Hi, good morning.
How are you? Welcome.
Good.
Welcome. So I also have Lauren Donnelly on the phone, who is one of my new agents. So you're not alone, Jessica. We have plenty of people here that we're training that are brand new to the business but are savvy. So what's the biggest sales challenge that you think you'll have? What worries you the most at night? You get nervous about, because most of the time it's rooted in, well, I don't know this. So fill in the blank for me there.
I know this is your work with.
Hang on, Rebecca. Rebecca. We have live mics. If you're going to talk in the background, no problem, but you have to *6 me, okay? *6 me.
I'm now unmuted.
No, you're not
I'm
unmuted.
now unmuted, but I was muted before.
Okay, I took care of it. All right, go ahead, Jessica.
So the thing that I want to be more confident in is doing calls and like what to say to get more their contact information.
Okay, superb. All right, in your mind's eye, You want to make a call to whom?
To like buyers or sellers.
Okay. See already where we're off and why we're confused? Because what's happening is it's not a strategic approach. I'm going to ask you to be greedy. In a perfect world, you want to work with what? A buyer or a seller?
With buyers.
Okay. Okay. Why did you say that to begin with, just out of curiosity? Why was that your first thought?
Well, I don't want to say that it's easier, but I feel like the buyers, I already know what they want, and I could look them up, and they could just pick and choose which property they want that, and like which property they want, instead of like finding people.
Okay.
Like the other way around.
Okay. All right. So your perception is if you have a seller, you have to go find people. If you have a buyer, you have to find properties. Is that right? Okay. Hey, guys, let's try to police the mics here. It's really hard to hear. And Jessica, I don't know, your mic's a little bit tough. Maybe you can speak a little bit more into the speaker so we can hear it, because it's a really good question, because we have somebody new in here, and this is a really good place to start. The problem right off the bat is your perception. That's why I asked the question I asked. You want to be careful of perceiving that sellers are any more difficult than buyers. We really don't know, because there are so many factors that are involved in really what help, why somebody makes a decision at all. So in other words, you might end up with a seller that's extremely easy to deal with, a lot easier than a finicky buyer who wants to lowball everything that you go into. So you see my point already?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a misperception problem. So what we want to do is first understand how the business really works. And the business really works based on inventory. So if there were no sellers, there would be no inventory, meaning listings inside the MLS. There would be nothing for you to go and find for properties. So the very first thing that I want you to do, and we'll talk about both sides of it, but the very first thing I want you to do is say, I want to be able to do business with sellers and buyers, both. Because if you take one away from the equation, you've decreased your chances by 50%, which makes no sense when you're growing a book of business. And the more that you say, I just want to do buyers as a new agent, well, what eventually happens is that you end up just completely not thinking about it. You wake up 4 or 5 years down the road and say, oh, I'm great at buyers, but I don't do sellers. It's a very, very dangerous starting point. So I want you to be comfortable under my watch with both of them, okay? So the very first thing that we're going to talk about is the seller. I'm going to make you think differently for a second here, and then I'm going to come back to the buyer, all right? So the seller exists out there where? What ideal seller? Your ideal seller is probably somebody who's motivated, that lives where?
In Burlingame.
Okay,
Or in like a middle class area.
Okay, good, interesting. Why middle class?
Because I feel like they're more serious about buying home and settling down.
Okay, you don't think somebody at above average isn't that?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Okay, see the problem here is that we pigeonhole ourselves, and I'm not picking on you, I'm helping you. If I wish somebody had done this to all of us at the very start of our career, right, Gail? This is the most important moment, right? Right here, when somebody's new, defining expectations. The way that—
Absolutely,
right,
Danny.
right.
What I did was, she actually is doing a strategic plan. She got a farm area in Burlingame, and she's going to be calling those people to see if they're thinking about buying or selling. And Burlingame is above average. It's not middle class.
Yeah.
So Burlingame is right next to the airport, Hillsborough. It's a very affluent area.
Yeah. So what we have, Gail, is we have perception problems, self-image problems that we all face, right? We all believe that when we first come into the business, oh, I can only do entry level. Well, again, for Jessica and everybody else, including all our mastermind members, I don't know if Jessica realizes we had to go through this with all ourselves, right? I mean, how many of us were top producers doing something less than the best business we could do? Which again, the only argument I'm going to make for sales here to help is you need to go to Burlingame You need to understand what the average and the middle sale price is. Okay? You need to understand that. But what you're doing is your own fear paradigm of not knowing what to do at any higher level is scaring you down into something that's less possibilities by only talking about buyers, less price by talking about entry level or just middle class, as you said, right? And your perceptions, oh, they're more serious. I don't find that at all. In fact, I find people with money right now who want to spend the last 10 years of their life or so living what they want are extremely serious when I take them out. They're very serious. They're very calculated. They're very motivated. And in fact, they're less whimsical, I find, than the entry level buyer who really is probably pressing themselves financially to do what they're trying to do. So in my own experience, I would tell you, I think everybody here is much safer at least looking at what the middle and average numbers are, because they're two different things. The middle number, depending on how far, how many data points you had, average can be skewed up very high. So for example, I think the middle number at the moment in my mind map for my town is 495, and then the average skews up to 595, another 100,000 because of the very high end stuff. So the point is, know thy market, like I just said, no Burlingame. And Gail will help you dig in there a little bit more. So now in Burlingame, we have this distribution. Gail, you don't have to give me an exact number, but if you could give me your best guesstimate on what the average sale in Burlingame is, that would help.
2 million.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yikes. Okay. So we have an average sale. Gosh, I have to move where you do. Where you live. I really do. I just want to come be your
I know,
partner.
Danny. We'd be a great combination.
No doubt. No doubt. Tell that handsome devil you live with, move over. I'm coming in. So the deal here is that's a huge number. And again, when we go to the West Coast and we go into the Google and the Facebook and all the other things that drive that economy, Jessica, you have a tremendous opportunity. But those people are no different from really any people, okay? They're motivated to buy or sell, and they need guidance. You with me?
Yes.
Okay. So very quickly, I know this is not going to be comfortable to you for you because I'm challenging your vision and your expectations, but I can't do you a bigger favor than do this, right? So now we know, let's just say there's plenty of million to $1.5 million, okay? What was your perception of the value of a middle class house or lower end? Let me ask you a real easy question. What's the cheapest you can get into Burlingame? Jessica.
I would say 1 million.
Okay. Is that right, Gail? The cheapest you can get in?
Well, that's a condo. It's a condo.
Okay. So a condo for $1 million gets you into Burlingame. See, the other problem is if we start thinking to ourselves, I've got to go to just middle class, well, I don't know how much of the middle class you're talking about from an income standpoint, but can they even afford the $1 million condo? See where I'm going, Jessica? So now all of a sudden our perception is I'm going to pick up the phone looking for sellers and buyers at $1 million, and now I'm not even looking at houses anymore. See the problems that start?
Yeah.
Okay, Jessica, don't be afraid of me. Come right in here. Lean in with me, okay? Lean in. This will make a huge difference here. So now the deal is this. Let's go back to your comfort zone. I made you uncomfortable. Now I'll make you comfortable again. You wanted buyers. Where do you believe, and Gail and I will not cheat, but where do you believe is the fastest path or way or medium to meet buyers? What do you think?
I'm sorry, I missed the last part
What
of
is
your
the
question.
fastest way to meet buyers in Burlingame?
Talk to people.
Okay. Where?
At like their downtown cafes and whatnot.
Okay. So, okay, good. Keep going. What other ideas? Give me other ideas for how you would just talk to people about real estate. We're off to a good start. Keep going.
That's the problem that I have is like going up to people or even like starting up a conversation about it.
Okay, good. All right, stop. Let's start there. So anybody else want to weigh in here and help me help Jessica and give some ideas? And Lauren, if you're on the phone call, you could tell her a little bit about what we talked about in the Griffin Realty Group team meeting yesterday. If you're there. Are you there, Lauren?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, if you could weigh in a little bit, didn't we just go through this, right? What did we determine that the
Yeah.
agent's biggest problem was? And because you're brand new getting your license too. So what was the biggest agent problem we discussed? You remember?
From yesterday, correct?
Yes.
We were talking about it was all in our ourselves, just putting ourselves out there.
Right. So the biggest problem was no plan, right? Remember we said
Right,
no
no plan,
executable plan. So you can see how common this problem is. Here you are on the East Coast getting your license. Jessica's out there relatively new to this business on the West Coast. You have the same problem. And so does every top producer who's listening in or is in the mastermind group. It's the lack of a clear, concise, executable plan. It's the biggest problem in the industry. Is so that we have all these people that are willing to go out and we're fumbling and stumbling because there's no plan. So what we did was we broke it down into 2 first beats to help you get going. Okay. Do you remember what those were? And I know I'm putting you on the spot, Lauren. I get it. I'll walk you through it too, because I just want to reiterate it. Do you remember what they were, or do you want me to do it?
I'm sorry. I'm just like drawing a blank.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good. All good. Let me do it then.
Sorry.
Remember what we talked about on social? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. So Jessica, Lauren, what I said yesterday was we always have to cheat towards the most obvious resource that we individually have. Unfortunately, in this business, it's trained too lightly without concision and direction. But the term sphere of influence can be very helpful to us to this extent. How many people, Jessica, that are your friends and family know that you're a real estate agent at the moment?
Everybody knows, like all my friends and family knew that I was getting into real estate. And then once I got my license, I like spread that news around. So like my whole friends and family circle knows.
Excellent. How did you tell them?
I was like, I got my real estate license.
Yeah.
And then they go, yay. And then I was like, well, if you guys know anybody, or like if you guys want to buy or sell, you know where to go. And then they go, yeah.
Okay, good. Stop. So now, did you tell them face to face? Or are you a Facebook user? Are you an Instagram user? Are you a LinkedIn user? Are you any of those things?
I'm more of an Instagram user.
Okay. Have you announced on Instagram that you're a real estate agent?
Yes.
Okay. Great. How many followers do you have on Instagram?
I made a Instagram profile for the real estate account, and it's like 20 people right now.
Okay, good. So there's hardly any. So that's one way, though.
Yeah.
Do you use Facebook at all?
I'm still learning how to use it.
Okay, start using it. Okay, because what happens is sphere of influence is the immediate nucleus where everybody knows and loves us, their family and their super close friends. And they will do the best that they can do, but they only know so many people at any one point in time. And they certainly only know so many people who are thinking about buying or selling at one time or another, right? So we can't sit there and rely on them to really be there for us that often. So all of a sudden, we don't want to become the pest, right? We don't want to pester them all the time. We really want to be just kind of looking on our own too. So you want to create this sense of influence out there. So the one thing that you can do is you can begin to just walk the walk. And I started off the call, and I'll say it to all the people that came in late. You have to know how the market's doing in Burlingame every single month. And then you have to post that to Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. You need to set up a LinkedIn profile. And this is Sphere of Influence in the Digital Age 101, which gives us a wonderful opportunity to actually, I highly recommend its video, but you get on there and say, hey, it's Jessica with the Burlingame Market Update. And it's interesting what happened here. 1, 2, 3, and get off. Okay? It's content marketing. But as you begin to grow your business, that's a very, very important part of sales. See, if I'm going to trust you to help me with a $2 million property, I need to see that you are authentically a real estate agent. You can't just tell it to me. You can't just show up at a restaurant, bar, kitchen, whatever, and just say you're this and for me to trust you. You have to have something that's in it for me. And the number one thing that's in it for people that we start with where there's some interest is, how's the market? Oh, you're a real estate agent now, Jessica? How's the market? You need to be able to produce an answer to that that's more specific. And that's what the best part of being with Gail is. She produces that report. She will educate you and she will give you talking points. Okay. But it is up to you then to start having real estate conversations anywhere. I gave you 3 clues immediately on social and digital, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. You should have one report once a month that goes out there about the market update. Okay. And then you should be talking about it wherever you can. Now, the wherever you can part. So part 1 was sphere of influence. That also includes digital. Wonderful opportunity in the digital age, once a month. Bare minimum, we're talking about the marketplace so that it's out there. Number 2, anytime that there is an opportunity to do an open house, to borrow one of Gail's listings, go with Gail, do anything when it comes to being inside the inventory and meeting real people who have real estate context is far easier than just going down to a cafe and starting to talk to people. Now, don't get me wrong. I started my business with 2,000 business cards, and I would go to the restaurant bar, and I would listen for people talking about real estate. And I was extremely aggressive to get myself inserted into those conversations, but I call that selling on muscle. It's very difficult. And if you don't have an offer that converts, then you might just be talking about real estate for the next 10 years and not converting anybody. So in any of these venues, we give information that shows people we know what we're talking about, but all the while we're ready with an offer that converts. This is a very, very key concept for salespeople. I see so many salespeople get in a venue where they have the right people that they're talking to. I'm going to give you an example. I have one of my agents that I've yet to catch up with that did an open house. She had 5 couples through, 3 people did not have an agent. And her comment was to me, we'll see what happens. No, you won't see anything that happens because they won't do anything with you because you weren't prepared to make an offer that converts when you were face-to-face of the next level of service. So that offer for all the rookie agents and all a reminder for all the top agents is that when somebody comes to you in an open house especially, you need to be prepared to say, hey, I noticed that you were looking for yourself and you're working by yourself, it seems. I took the time to print out a bunch of other properties that were for sale, like this one that you came to see, in case this doesn't work for you. I also took the time to put some solds in there so you can see what's happening in Burlingame, so you can see what the money's buying. Here, take it. That's called gift giving, okay? And it warms up the offer. So I'm demonstrating this gift-giving mentality. I give it out on social. Here's how the market's doing. In the house, I give free list of properties that are there. Everybody panics. Everybody has such a scarcity mentality. Well, what if they just go and buy it from the other agent? So what? So what? That's not the point. You don't even understand the law of reciprocity, and you should learn it if you think that way. You give to get. You give to get. You give to get. Law of reciprocity is very simple. If I'm in an open house, and I see the intake form says they don't have an agent and they've picked up the feature sheet, I'm going to fall into a conversation. Hey, folks, you looking for yourself? Oh, great. How long you been looking? How's it going? Hey, by the way, I noticed you weren't working with an agent, so it might be a little difficult running around your little app on your phone. So here's a printout of some addresses and basic descriptions of properties that are for sale like this one in your neighborhood. And then there's also some solds in there. I get more people turn to me and say, really? What was your name again? All of a sudden they begin to lean in. So this begins to be an offer that converts. And you can apply this anywhere, especially if you're new. You need to learn this when you're new, especially, okay? So now, as that happens, that gift or that law of reciprocity kicks in. Now, somebody tends to lean in a little bit more and be a little bit more interested. You don't have to jump up and down and make the offer right away, but you just wait and say, hey, by the way, did you give me a good email? When you feel this is appropriate, now you go to the offer that converts. Hey, by the way, is this your best email over here? I just want to make sure I can read it. Because what's in your hand is just a snapshot that I was able to pull for today's open house. And that will show you what's available today and what's sold recently. But if you're not quite ready to buy right now, it's prudent to stay in touch with what's happening in the marketplace. So I could set you up in MLS. I know you're looking at your app with Zillow or Redfin, whatever app you're using there. I would say keep using it. But unfortunately, that's not the source, and it's not always perfectly accurate, or is it the most timely? MLS is. Multiple listing service is the source. So what I could do is take your criteria and I could put it in the back end of MLS. That way, every time something comes on that suits you, it'll be in your email before anybody else knows it. It's a free concierge service that we do, and you look like a busy person to me, so I'm sure it will work for you. Period. That's it. And I think everybody's looking for like this person to get their contact information, to capture that lead. Why? Why is this business all about that kind of attack mode? When the truth is, that's never been the best sales maneuver ever. The best one has always been to give, to have them lean in, to gain more insight from you, to give again, make an offer that converts to the next level of relationship. And by the time you've converted the relationship, guess what follows? The opportunity to sell them a property or sell their property for them. All right, Jessica and Gail, you want to weigh in on what I just went through and ask questions? And Lauren, you can ask questions too, since I put you in the hot seat with me.
Yeah, I like it, Danny.
Go ahead, Jessica. Go ahead.
Just-
Hold on, Jessica, go ahead. And then Gail and I will jump in. Thoughts, questions?
I was gonna say, like, it made it so much clearer to me, like, not to go in and ask for the contact directly, because people don't like that, and just giving out their information like that. So then, like, this helped me understand, like, how to ease into it.
Yes, and see, that's what makes rookie agents and veterans sometimes just do this really well, but then they can't train their teams. That's why we do this call and invite all the team members on. Some veterans have just gotten so good at that thing. I mean, I know a lot of them here, and a lot of the people that visit with me when I do the sales training call, they're just naturally good now, because over time what they've done is they've found that what worked. Sometimes they're not even cognizant of it. They've just found what worked. They've made it into their brand, and it's magnetically attractive. People just come to it. They see it, they trust it, they like it, especially if it's a locality where you can see the signs all the time, you can see the brand, you can see the solds. They're drawn then. But then that person wants to not do all the selling. They want to bring in team members. And there's this huge chasm. They sort of give everybody the blank look and say, well, why don't you just do it the way I do? Well, you can't take a unicorn and have that unicorn teach somebody brand new unless they're a natural teacher and they know how to chunk it up. So my job is to say, okay, look, if I look at the way all the top producers I know, and I'm one of them, if I know the basics of what I'm doing, can I pull it out, extract it, and tell you the simplest thing that it is? Now, you might not trust me in the beginning. You might say, oh, well, but you guys who did know, if you can be you. See, I think most people come into this business and they think that they're so far behind or they don't know enough. What they don't rely on is their own life experience to deal with people, and you just did it. So what you said is that's so much better than just asking for the information. So I don't even know where you got the perception, because if you go, do you like to shop at all, Jessica? I'll give you an analogy. Do you like to shop at all?
Yes.
Okay, what do you like to shop for the best? What's the best?
Like clothing?
Yeah.
Or which brand?
Yeah, clothes. What kind of clothing store do you like to go to?
I guess Macy.
Okay, what do you like about Macy's when you go to Macy's? What do you like about it?
It's just all the sales that they have going on every single day, and like just the new stuff. They always have the newest product in their store.
Stop. Got a nice piece already. Now you have a connection to your real world. You go in there, they have new stuff, they have sales. It's just a good environment, okay? What did I just finish explaining to you? Here's a little sampling of this clothing, of these properties, right? That you might like. Take a look at this. Do you see any difference? There's none. So all you have to do is take the context within which you live and you like and apply it to real estate. That's all you have to do. So here you are, let's say in an open house, because that's the easiest one to set up, like a retail shop like Macy's. You're sitting inside a piece of the inventory, and you've brought more pieces of inventory, but only pictures, because you can't pick up all these other houses and put them in that house. So you can only take pictures, snapshots, short descriptions, right? So now you have your own retail shop inside this place. And what do? You put up your signage, open house this way, open house this way. Come on in. Lights are on. You just got set up in the retail business for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I recommend if you're a rookie and you can get an open house for 3 hours, sit your butt down and run your retail store. Macy's doesn't always have people coming through the women's department. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's a rush. Same thing in real estate, but we just don't see it that way. So if we would just see the way that we experience the world at its best when it comes to being sold, what do we like? So now, have you ever been sold, quote unquote, by somebody that you liked? Anybody? Can you think of any salesperson that you liked, any sales experience? Jessica, you with me? We lose her?
Oh, no, I'm still here. Sorry, I kind of lost a little bit of the last part.
Okay. Have you ever been sold by somebody that you like?
Yeah.
Who? Can you see them?
They're more like advertisements, like influencers or those
Good.
influencers
Good.
where they put the advertisement on.
Good. Stop. You like influencers on Instagram? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So there's another example. If you like an influencer on Instagram, go watch what they do. Go watch how they do it. I mean, if you're being sold by people on Instagram these days, you're not being hard sold most of the time. I'm not saying that there's not hard sales out there everywhere, but in the information marketing world, the best people on Instagram or information marketing, they're going to give an enormous amount of content for free before they ask if they're savvy marketers, salespeople, right? That's what they do. So all you have to do is observe these environments and copy it. But yet we just don't slow it down to say, hey, how would I want to be sold? How do I like to be sold? And really, there's no selling. It's the invisible sale. Because if I just give you the information that you need, I draw you in. If I give you a little bit more of the information plus some insight, I draw you in. I draw you in until we're cozy and there's a little bit of trust going on. And if they can see on top of that a little bit of expertise, they begin to trust even more because this is a huge financial decision. All right, Gail, weigh in on this with me.
Okay, but I just wanted to make sure if we got lost here, if you think that having them sign in, Jessica, is not good, is good or it's not good.
I think it's good because it also kind of gives you a little bit more information. Like with your sign-in sheet, it tells them it tells me if they have an agent work or if they're working with an agent. So I do think that signing in is really helpful.
Okay, to them or to us?
It goes both ways.
Okay, cool. I agree. I think it creates a safe environment, but let me just say this. Remember, in your head and in your worried brain, you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'm just going to start walking into these cafes and start talking to people. Now you see how absurd it is to say that when you could do these other intelligent approaches, these strategic approaches, right? Because you're saying, what was I thinking? I would never want that to happen to me. So the best and fastest way, I was leading the witness here, Gail, right? The best and fastest way to get in front of people is to find people who have real estate context, right? Open house visitors. They're interested in real estate. Expireds. They're interested in having sold their house but didn't. Somebody who passes and has real estate they have to get rid of or manage. There's so many different contexts that people have where they need to buy or sell real estate. It is our job as thinking salespeople to find those batches of people. There are really, 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 really smart marketing salespeople. Okay, I say marketing first because oftentimes marketing is used to find them so that they can then be educated, and then the sale is a natural component of that. So there are really, really, really smart people who have these lists. And it's not a Facebook and Cambridge Analytica thing. This has been around forever. There are people that accumulate enormous amounts of data about people, and they know who's ready to sell. Well, in our business, we don't need that many data points. We know people walking through an open house, they're either looking for themselves early on, They're the nosy neighbor to figure out what theirs is worth. Maybe they're thinking about selling. Who cares? But they are real estate interested people. So that is a batch of people that if we can capture them. Hey, Jessica, thanks for coming to the open house. The sellers asked that I have everybody sign in. Okay. Well, I don't want to sign in. Hang on, crackly Mike in Washington. They don't want to sign in. Well, the sellers asked for security purposes. So if you don't mind, they've opened their house to the public. They just want to know who went through. Okay. If they still resist, I kind of lay off a little bit unless they look really seedy. Ladies, protect yourself, especially in open houses, right? So it can be a lot of things there that are based around safety, security, and control. And I think it's absolutely within your right to do it. But the wonderful business benefit is if the sign-in sheet is done correctly, you are vetting this person to see what kind of real estate context they do indeed have. So as they put their name down, how they heard about the open house, you get a little bit of feedback on where their friends who have real estate contacts might be hiding, right? We start to learn a lot. And most importantly, are you working with an agent or just the name of your realtor, right? That's what we say, the name of your realtor. And so if they put nothing down, they put nothing down. So now I see that. And in exchange for that information, this is the law of reciprocity. Thanks so much. The feature sheet for the property is right next to it when you're done signing it. It has all the details and pictures of this property. Okay, that's it. The 1-2 introduction. Hey, thanks for coming. Sellers asked that everybody signed in. If you don't mind doing that, they'd appreciate it. And when you're done doing that, the feature sheet of the property is right next to it. So 1-2 sitting there like a retail storefront, Macy's countertop, just like you said. It's the display items, okay? These are my sale items, right? But you have to sign in first. Next, you kind of take a peek down and you let them sign in. You don't bug them while they're doing it. I find sometimes my eagerness to talk, I don't even let them finish putting the right information down. Get away, let them do it, and let everybody breathe. They come up, they take a look at it. Now you look at them and say, are you looking for yourselves? Oh, wonderful. Do you live in the area now? Oh, wonderful. Why? Trying to find out really what is going on. What is their timing? What is their motivation? They have a house to sell, but I'm asking it in conversational tone. Hey, great. Were you looking for yourselves? I'm the sales guy. I'm trying to sell the property. So I'm trying to see if this is a fit that came through the door for this property. So if I'm not doing things like that naturally, then I'm not doing my job to at least be proactive in what we call push marketing or push selling the house, just trying to see if we have a fit. Next, as they go along, you'll hear them, the bedroom's a little bit small. Hey, you know what? I saw that you weren't working with a realtor and you're looking at this app. I have something for you. Oh, by the way, did you know I could also set you up on MLS? That's it. That's the whole thing. I reiterated it now a couple of times just to show you that there is a strategic way to engage with people. Now, what if, Jessica, to challenge your uncomfortable side, what if the neighbor walks through the door because they're thinking about selling? What if they put their name down, grabbed the sheet, wanted to take a look at it, and you ask them, yourself? Yes, I am. Oh, do you live in the neighborhood? I do. I live right next door. I'm thinking about selling. Wonderful. In that case, I brought a bunch of the comparables that are also for sale, but more importantly for you as the seller, I have a bunch of sold properties here that will tell you what everybody's actually getting so you don't have to guess. And by the way, if you want me to, I saw you put your email address down there. I'd be happy to set you up an MLS so every time something sells in addition to this, going forward, you could see it. Now, again, I'm going to leave it all up to you to feel out that moment, to see what's appropriate to make that offer. But you must understand the order of things. And if you do not have an offer that converts, that you're ready to give, well, then this is just a hobby, right? Let that sink in. This is just a hobby without offers that convert, because you'll need more offers that go along, right? Yep, somebody just gave it the thumbs up out there in Facebook land. You're right? It is a thumbs up moment. Don't make this a hobby by just sort of doing these things. They're not intentionally trying to create a deeper relationship. See the difference, Jessica? If I make you an offer to give you more sale items, properties for sale, that's my Macy's analogy with you, right? If I give you more opportunities by giving you that MLS access, okay, that's a big capture moment. But I gave you something. I gave you an item. I brought in an item for you. And I gave you a physically manifested version of it. Hey, thanks for coming. By the way, notice you're not working with that agent. I printed out a bunch of other properties that you might want to drive by today that are also in this price range in the case that this house doesn't work out. But more importantly, you can drive by some that's sold and you can take a look at what the money's really buying. I mean, that's wildly important to people. And I've heard top producers try to explain it away. Oh, they could get that anywhere. Really? Could they? All right. No, they couldn't, because it's not easy, because people are busy, number one. We do this, number two, so we're in it. So even our perception is whacked out that it's easy. But lastly, that's the whole idea, that somebody is out there willing to demonstrate concierge level service for these people, because that's what they still want. That's what they still need. Guidance is alive and well, folks, for real estate agents. Otherwise, we would have been extinct like the dinosaurs. Gail, come in with me and tell me a little bit about your thoughts about all that for your new agents, because you have a fistful. And Lauren, if you're still on, you can weigh in. I don't know who's out there, but Gail, go first, please. Gail, did I lose you? All right, no Gail. Lauren, go ahead. Lauren,
Yes.
tell me what you thought about all that.
I mean, I think it's the right plan. You have to do all these steps in order to get to our closing. And like what you're saying about the influencer on Instagram is so easy. Like, I know that's my trap. I go online, I see someone like advertising clothes, I click on the link, and there I am already checking out. It's the same thing that we have to do with clients and open homes and just making deals.
Yeah. Well, and again, just servicing. The deals follow. It's a byproduct. See, everybody thinks there's such a hardcore sale moment, and that's where all these scripts get weird on the front end. That's when we're meeting with people in open houses, or we're afraid, worse, to go into listing presentations, especially at the higher end, because we have a perception that somehow those people are different. They're just different. I like those middle classers or those entry level. They're just easy. No, they're not. No, they're not. Nobody's easy. Okay. People are complicated.
No.
People are emotional. And
Danny, can you hear me now?
I can now.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Somehow I got booted off.
No sweat.
But I wanted to say that excellent, Danny. I don't know how much you heard from the last thing, because I don't know what happened to my phone. However, I just think the way that you're articulating everything to Jessica and the rest of the group is awesome, because you're doing it tactically. And I think when you're learning, sometimes you don't hear everything at the same time.
Right.
So it's so great to have this group and have this sales training call. I listen to it every Friday. You know that, Danny, unless I'm gone. And that's how important it is. And I've been doing it a long time.
Forever.
So I just encourage it.
Well, Gail, the encouragement you could give the group, and we'll give everybody the context that you have, is that you are in arguably the highest end area in the United States, in that Atherton, Palo Alto, Google, Facebook environment out there. I mean, I think there's probably parts of Seattle, but I'll make the argument you're it. Okay. So as the years have gone on that I've guided you through that kind of a marketplace, I think early on there was a lot of this, stuff that was never going to fit your marketplace. To sit there and say you were going to buy somebody's, $5 million house was an absurdity, right? But the ability to make this real, authentic performance guarantee has now morphed into just this strategic approach. And you're in front of people at 4 and 5 million. Tell us what you think about over the years as you've evolved into a more simplified, clear, concise plan for guidance. Is there a relief on your part? Is there a difference in the house? Give people encouragement to move up a little bit, and why they can.
Yeah. Yes, there isn't that much difference unless you're weighing like $29-40 million.
Yep.
And then they take referral only. But when you're in the $2 to $4 to $5 million range, those people are just, in fact, they're even nicer than the people that are, brand new buyers, I find. Mm-hmm. And it was a perception that I had to overcome. Yep. And I think that this last listing that I got at $4 million, I said, "Why did you choose me?" He said, "Because you have so much confidence." And that was besides the plan. Of course, he said, "I like your plan, but he said, and that's why I gave you all those things the other day, books and stuff
Yes.
that was sent to him through listing. And he said, I just love the fact that you were confident and that you knew that you could sell the property. And so if that's what it takes, everybody, 4 million, 5 million, that's what they're looking for. We have the plan, but you have that mindset that you know that you can sell it for them. And the ugly head that comes up and says, no, you can't, just throw that away, because what you can do it. And I think the most important thing is that stay positive and confident. And if you do that, we have the plan, which gives you credibility and trustworthiness, and really go in there. And, like with Jessica, she wanted to work in Hillsborough, where the average price is like $3.5 million, but they only sold like 70 a year.
Right.
So that's why we came back to Burlingame.
Right.
And she understands that, it's the marketplace that she wants.
Right.
She knows what she wants, what her avatar is. So I think that you just have to think correctly and use the plan, and you're going to be a winner.
Yeah, let me take this a little bit further now, because I think, and Lauren, you brought this up a little bit there about, and just get it done at the end, right? So we always just want to get it done at the end. So let me take it all the way through it as to where the plan really comes in. So as you move along the continuum of this thing, and what this thing really is the manufacturing of relationships. So one of the reasons I've postponed Campfire for a couple of weeks is because after TRC Live, I had more clarity myself on how to help everybody at a basic level. And so if you start, and that means top producers and their reset. Top producers need to reset themselves. Okay. So here's what we do. We take a look at that, and the open house is always an easy one for me. I could take other types of marketing and follow up, but let's just say, if you can get face-to-face with people at an open house, it's just the easiest place to get engaged fully in this business, and to really, really be able to have these conversations, and to be detached from the outcome. You don't always have to be attached to the outcome.
Hey, Danny?
Yep, hang on. Yeah.
Hey, Danny?
Yeah.
Real quick.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Danny, I think your mic's getting a little...
Okay. Yeah, sometimes that happens.
Breaking up.
It's a VoIP line through the Instant Teleseminar. I had to mute a mic that was noisy. Can you hear me any better now?
I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. All right. Gail's mic was a little noisy, so I just muted it for a second. So Gail, if you can hear me, I had to mute your mic and a little feedback there. So maybe that was causing it. Tell me if I go out, somebody needs to start yelling, okay? Because I want to make this point, because we don't have much more time. The most important thing to understand is that when we are face-to-face with somebody, okay, early on, I mean, sometimes for some of you that are on here that are the inside sales agents, telemarketers, whatever you're called, you have a similar situation, but voice only. Agents, if you're face-to-face with friends or sphere of influence folks and people you don't know, it's still the same thing. You cannot abandon formulaic approach that's universal and immutable, meaning can't make it go away. It's just the way things work. So let's just take all scenarios like that and bundle them. When you arrive at those moments on the phone or face-to-face, you have to keep in mind how people will accept you. And it's no different from the best shopping experiences in any industry. If somebody has something to offer you, it's the easiest way to draw you in. Hey, thanks for coming. We baked some fresh muffins today. Why don't you grab that while you shop? It just changes the entirety of the experience, right? Imagine if Whole Foods was really super smart, and every day at the front there was a concierge greeting, and all the food that they had to cook anyway because they'd have to put it in a hot bar and go back, but instead they just gave it away at the front door, right? They just gave it away. And so the minute you came through and you're starving, you got to get the food, you want to cook and everything's, and you got the shakes because you got low blood sugar and you're going to start eating the chips in the aisle, boom, they just give you something. It changes your experience with that space instantly, and it uplifts you. You're met, like Gail said, with this enthusiasm, with this positive environment. Now, all of a sudden, everything that was a shitty day becomes enthusiastic, becomes enjoyable, and you begin to lean in. And as you lean in, now you become more positive. And you say, you know what? That was really good. And I noticed you have some other things. Does it go well with that? Yeah, boom. Next thing you know, bang. All of a sudden they're buying.
Hey, Johnny?
They're all of a sudden buying a bundle of stuff, right? All of a sudden, just like that. So telemarketing and open houses, what we've done in my office is we've just changed it to give, right? Autumn's instructions are to give. Just give. Whatever they need, you give to them. Offer it, yes, because you're going to be up against competition. So ladies and gentlemen that are on the phone making the telemarketing call, and there's 33, 35 other people, whatever it is, you better remember, I've got to give something to this person. I've got to offer a freebie, an easy something to these people immediately just to get them to lean in during that first 7 seconds, right?
Hey, Danny?
Yep.
I got a quick question for
Go
you.
ahead,
This
Rebecca.
is Rebecca.
Go ahead.
I had 2 calls come in the last couple of days, which was a little unusual for me. Neither one of them were looking for to list with us, but
Yep.
they wanted us to bring them buyers only. So, do you have any comments about that? People that are just looking to bring in buyers only?
Well, how did they call you? The genesis of it matters to me. How did they get birthed into your world?
I was doing a follow-up call to see if they received the CMA package, just standard protocol. And I reached out to them, called them, and the first guy basically said, "Oh, as much as I'm sure you guys are great. I've even heard about you. I'm not looking to list with you because I've worked with like half a dozen or so other real estate agents, and it just didn't work out for me. So
Okay,
got a
great.
buyer for me.
Great,
Feel free to bring them my way."
Great. When can Gail come over to take a look at it so she can see if she can match it up?
That was my
There you
next
go.
thing. That I did do that, and they said, "Well, I mean, that's fine." One of the guys said he wasn't even in the state. So
Okay, so how are we gonna match it with one of our buyers if we can't see it? When can we see it?
Yeah.
Just
And
cut.
then he said,
Yeah.
"Well, we've got a lockbox, so we could do it that way." So
Great.
we negotiated that part out, but it was. Is there anything else I could do to like maybe?
Don't try to always press. One of the things you've been trying to do for the first 30 or so days, you're pressing too hard. You got her in the house. You did your job. That's a big milestone. I would celebrate it. You let her do it. That's her job. You got her in the house. Gail, the best I could do with this one was you got in the house. Now Gail goes in the house. She sees it. She sees what his problems are or they are not. She picks up the phone and says, okay, let me see. I work with a couple buyers. I don't have anybody in inventory right now. But by the way, while I'm there, let me just tell you a couple things you need to tweak. Boom, 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 boom. She adds her insight. Just get her there. You're trying to do the whole thing perfectly. Doesn't work like that, right? If we can follow the yellow brick road perfectly, wonderful. But sometimes Dorothy has to go around the little, pothole off the yellow brick road and right back on. That's what you did. It's a little bit of an adjustment, but you got her in the house nonetheless. Period. Don't make any more of it than that. Don't give it any more life than that. Get her in, get her in, get her in, get her in. Right? Let us figure that out when we're in the house. We'll come back with feedback and say, yeah, you know what? The next time you try to get one of those guys, ask this, do this, or, hey, that was great. Keep getting me in those. Let her have the burden of figuring it out. Make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Danny.
Yeah. Don't try to keep pressing, right? We keep pressing. You could hear Jessica was, well, I got to get down it. Nope. You don't. Don't press so hard. Just be reasonable. You're a reasonable, and you're a good negotiator, Rebecca. You have a good tone. You're enthusiastic, right? When you're not depressed, right? We saved you from that moment, right? Be enthusiastic. Say, wonderful. Absolutely. I don't know who Gail has in her inventory for buyers right now, but I'm sure she's going to want to look at it so she can talk to them about it. She's not going to look at pictures online and try to sell your house that way. Nobody does that, right? So when can she get in to see it? That's it. Get her in.
What's the next?
What's that?
Hi, Danny. I just wanted to do a quick intro. I'm a newbie with Rossetti with Gail. My name is Derek.
Hey, buddy.
And hey, how's it going?
Good, pal.
Hi, team.
Welcome.
I just wanted to say that this is not my first rodeo with the sales team meeting. I've been in several others, but I've been kind of quiet.
Yep.
Not because I'm shy or anything. I'm just, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? So my approach is just to
Hey, Derek.
observe.
Derek, unfortunately, he told me to use the one mouth too much.
Hey, I don't have a problem using the 1 mouth. Trust me. I just kind of feel my way through the process, right?
Love it.
And so, but I do want to say this. For several years I've done construction, development, sales, and marketing.
Yeah.
And Rossetti is, and especially Gail, or it's synonymous. It's just been it's just been a big blessing because, just like the Golden State Warriors out here, our marquee team, and there's other teams that have great players, but the key to, in my opinion, is the chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
So what you and Gail have put together is just straight, great chemistry.
Yeah.
And, I'm just proud and glad that Gail opened her arms to me, and I'm a part of the team.
Yeah, well, I can hear your faith. I can hear it in your voice. And here's how I would say to apply it. I would say have faith that you're a servant, and that's why you're quiet. You're a servant's mentality, which I love. My whole company is based on one mantra that's tattooed in my soul: be a person for others. And I think when you just really authentically do that on the phone, and you authentically do that in the house, I'll go back to where I was at. That offer that you're making is one of a servant's mentality. Hey, what I could do is I could give you direct access to MLS so that you could get in your email the properties directly from the source as they occur. Would that be helpful? Because if it's not, no problem. But I thought, in my experience with people I've worked with, they found it very helpful. So I thought I'd offer that to you. So now all of a sudden, as a servant's mentality, there's no pressure to close on the offer either. It's authentic. It's genuine. The tonality of your voice, the way you just express yourself just to say hi before the call ended, that's the same voice that you want to bring forward as you make that offer. Because there will be enough people out there that are silently begging to be led and helped and served. And when they hear the right thing at the right time, they will lean in. So you have to get yourself in as many opportunities. You can't sit back on the couch wondering how this happens, right? In the office, you have to get on the field and have full contact with these people and serve. That's the best advice I can give you, because I hear it in between every line that you say. You're a servant. I can hear you. I hear it. It's a winning formula. And Jessica, I would recommend, that's the same for you and Lauren and everybody else. Just serve. Let me get through this one thing. Tony, I know that you wanted to say something there too. Did I hear you kind of chiming in? Tony?
Yeah. If you don't have time for it, Danny, don't worry about it. But
I will.
Setting up, we did for sell by owners that way a lot. They want you to bring a buyer. It's a big challenge, at least for me personally, when an appointment's set up that way.
Yep.
Because the real power, the likelihood that I'm going to have just the right buyer for your home, that's not where my value is. My value is in my ability to market your home to all the buyers so we can call those out. And it's a tough situation. Almost felt awkward going into an appointment like that. So I just wanted to see if you could speak on that.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great other side of the story. I think it's excellent that you bring it up. In your case, knowing you intimately, that you're a full-time fire captain and your time is extremely limited, I don't know that I give you the same advice. I'd probably say to your telemarketers, they probably don't want to send Tony in there unless it is a real, avatar that you're after. Let's say it's in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's well above the average. I think that would be worth your time to go into one of those, not FSBOs. I just think FSBO has a whole different mentality. They don't really want us for some reason. They don't believe we're valuable, or they don't believe they can afford us. There's a lot of weird vibe there. But if it's an expired, I think that's different. And especially if it's like you know Gail's story intimately too. Gail's hunting elephant. I mean, these are massive sales. If this is a $4 or $5 million sale and she only does X of them a year, I think it's worth her time. There's no doubt about it. I would send Gail because the fact that he's putting up that barrier to everybody. Yeah, bring me a buyer. I got all sorts of people. It didn't work out. Yeah, but nobody slapped you around and told you where you were wrong, right? We know that deeply. So you steamrolled everybody, and you maybe never got any good advice. I don't know. So I might just say, hey, Gail, get in there like the Trojan horse, get in there, take a look at it. And you may very well, make an off-market deal because you see something, because she's such a pro. So she may do that. As long as that's a good use of her time versus it is or it isn't for you, I think Rebecca's solution is to meet with Gail and say, Gail, are there any parameters when this comes up that you want me to get in? And are there any parameters you say, oh, heck no, right? So I think that is a business decision made. And my consultation to you is I would use it sparingly because of the burdens of your time, unless it's higher end for Albuquerque. In her case, if it's in her wheelhouse, I'm sending her, it's a green light for her. So I think it depends on demand on time. Now let's broach what you said. I do like what you said, that we don't want to get defensive though, Tony. That's the way that I would deal with that piece of it. Well, my program is designed to get you all sorts of buyers. That gets a little weird to me. So look, I can appreciate where you're coming from. Your perception is that each one of us has a buyer. But the truth is, the way that this really works, 88% of the time, it's one company to another that sells the property. So it's more so about having somebody who's strategic on the listing side to attract not just buyers. How about the agents? The agents are the real clients. 88% of the time, they're working with the buyer, and they put your property on the list or not based on a whole bunch of factors. So I would go a little bit deeper into being transparent about how it really works rather than give a quip. Well, my program's designed, I don't like that myself. I would just explain to them, if you're not going to go and you don't want your telemarketer to send you, then I'd go a little bit deeper into the explanation and just be a little bit more transparent. Say, I hear you. And it's really impossible for me to get over there and take a look at it to see if I have one buyer in my cash. But let me just tell you how this really works. That's not the way it really works. 88% of the time, me or any brokerage, no matter how big they are, and that's a stat in my marketplace, check yours, it's going to be one brokerage to the next. And my job is strategically to present your property so that it attracts all their buyers and they feel comfortable showing it because it's properly, aligned with value, right? So I'd come up with a little something better since you don't really want to go in. Make sense? And something easy for your telemarketers. I mean, if you make it too complicated, they're going to end up in an argument, right? So say, yeah, okay, well, you know what? We're going to send you some information that shows you some of the stuff. But look, the way it works is we have a plan and we know it works. So if you get serious, do me a favor, at least include me. Doesn't sound like you want to list with anybody. You're a little bit upset that you went through 2-3 people. I get it. But I still want you to look at my plan. I still want you to look at it. Humor me. Because if you would let me in the house, I would explain to you and take a look and at least give you insights as to what I think happened. And by the way, I don't pull punches. If your price sucks, I'm going to tell you it does. Right? So I'd be,
Thank you.
You bet. But it's an excellent question, Tony, because that is one moment where I don't think universally it is the same for everybody. That's a biz decision. So really good point you bring up. All right, let me finish this one thought and I'm going to call it. I've made a big deal about offers that convert. Let me start with my telemarketers. The offer that converts, for example, expireds or probates, is to get them information that will help them understand their current situation. Okay? That's what it is. I want to send you some information that will help you sell it the next time. I want to help you give you some information that will help you get through the probate process. That is definitely saying, I know your situation. I have some information that will really help you. And I just want permission to send it to you. Because the minute I get permission to market, I get permission to follow up. Because I give this thing to you. Sure, that sounds reasonable. Send it over. Wonderful. Okay? Is this the address? Yep, great. Would it be okay if I follow up to make sure you get it? Yep, super. I've just gotten my next level already. So I made an offer that converts of sending them helpful information. They've said yes. Now that converts me to the next one. Would it be okay to follow up? That's another request, right? I'm offering to follow up to make sure you get it. I get a yes, 2 yeses. Yes, send it. Yes, follow up. Now, when I follow up, did you get it? Now, if the package is sent correctly, meaning it is really helpful, it's simple for them to understand. The next conversion, which is the one you all really want to get in the house, for example, on sellers, is way easier than sounding like 35 other people who are using NLP and all this other nonsense. Because we simply used the golden rule and we started making offers, understanding that if we were them, we wouldn't want to be sold. We would want to be helped. Everything changes if you can see that. Okay. All right. Good job, everybody, today. Fabulous. Jessica, thanks for the hot seat. Lauren, thanks for weighing in. Tony, excellent point in the end. And Gail, of course, as usual. Really, really well done, gang. See you on the other side next week. Let's do this again the same way with some people coming in giving me anecdotes like that, especially even if it's new. That's wonderful, right? Awesome. Good job.
Thank you. Great call.
You bet. Take care, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Thanks,
you bet. You're welcome. Bye, all Facebookers. YouTube.